A funeral massacre perpetrated by evil paladins. The holy grail of acceptable office pornography. Stuff blowing up in a microwave oven. What do these three things have in common? Well, they're all on the internet and they're all part of our show. I'm Mr. Internet. Hop on the back of my digital space cycle and I'll take you on a tour of... Well, if you're a guy, that's going to be weird because you're going to be holding my torso. So what if it's a sidecar? Join me and get in the digital sidecar and we'll go find some stuff. What is it about microwave ovens? I mean, maybe you think, well, they do things faster than a conventional oven. But the weirdest thing about microwave ovens is they invite experimentation. I mean, no one ever thought, what if I bake my telephone on 350 for a half an hour? No one ever thought that. But a microwave, for some reason, makes you think that kind of thing. What if I put a salt shaker in there? What if I put car keys in there? What if I put a parrot in there? How do you find out? Well, you don't have to find out because the internet can find out for you. You can see a veritable cornucopia of inanimate objects being nuked into oblivion, into various states of oblivion. You can see what happens when you microwave things without putting your home or loved ones in danger, destroying your microwave, or setting the entire neighborhood ablaze.
Tonight, a reminder, firefighters say do not place aluminum foil in your microwave.
Some of the more popular things that people have decided to microwave, a light bulb. Oh, nice. Nice. Eggs. God, he's putting eggs in. What's gonna happen? There's 6 of them. Ah! That egg blew up. That's gonna be a messy cleanup. I'm not that excited, but I was told by the director that I need to be more up. Here's a CD. A CD is good because in addition to being quite spectacular, it erases the data. So if you've got a bunch of files that you don't want your significant other to stumble across, or the IRS, I guess that's the modern paper shredder, is just throw the CD in a microwave. What else could we put in there? I mean, honestly, if those are the most popular things, a light bulb, we can do better than that. What happens if you nuke a vibrator, a clock radio? What happens when somebody in the studio has an electronic device that goes off and destroys a perfectly good take? I'll tell you what happens. That person gets loaded into a microwave and put on high for 7 minutes. We're gonna microwave some things on our Facebook page, and I'm not gonna tell you what they are, because that's the thing where I tease it and then you have to go there. You're probably irritated because you have to get up and go away from the television and log on, but you should go to Facebook and see what we're gonna microwave. It's better than trying it in your own microwave. Warning, this whole thing is about putting stuff in your microwave, and the producers and lawyers are concerned that you might actually do this in your own home. I'm thinking, cool. They're thinking, lawsuit. So don't put a thing in your microwave that wasn't designed to go in there and leave the room and then come back and find that your home has been burned to the ground. These days, everything's got to be content. Content. It's irritating. Content. I hate that word, but everything has to be that. And so you see stuff that's designed to convey a product or service message, and it actually is a standalone thing in its own right. And that's why you see commercials turning into TV shows, and it's why you see a movie review site like Spill.com that actually takes the form of a cartoon. It's entertaining by itself, despite the fact that it's also giving you useful information. At Spill.com, you'll watch as 2 black dudes, a white dude, a robot, and a Rastafarian of indiscriminate race have heated discussions and often fistfights about the validity of certain movies. Like, look at this review they did of Punisher Warzone.
Punisher Warzone. Somebody needs to punish this scriptwriter who wrote this dialogue in this movie.
Oh, I don't know. I'd punish some of the actors, especially Dominic West, who was so campy with his gangster talk.
While we're punishing people, can we punish the people who made the last 2 movies too, for sake? It's not, they've never made a good Punisher movie, for
and they still
sake.
have not.
Problem is
It's great because they behave normally and they kind of lull you into this sense of, I'm just watching a normal review, and then someone shoots someone or punches them in the face. And that's where animation frees you up a little, because there aren't any legal ramifications. And no one dies. A lot of people don't realize that's how Siskel perished. He was chopped in the throat by Ebert. They disagreed about Remains of the Day, I believe it was. I believe Siskel panned it and Ebert freaked out
I do agree with you in that I give this a very enthusiastic rental.
It's one of those things where you're like,
This review's way better than the movie.
watch this copy.
And that's kind of weird because I just reviewed the review. And so what's next? I mean, will someone review my review of the review? It's like when you look into a mirror and you see 1,000 views and then you have to go drink a Schlitz because you're confused as hell. People think the internet is an amazing development because it blankets us all with a wondrous web and allows us to connect on levels we never could before with people we never could before. All that's a bunch of crap. The coolest thing about the internet is the fact that it's allowed us to bring pornography directly into the workplace. I mean, before the internet, your only option was to pull a hustler out of your filing cabinet. Not exactly inconspicuous. With the internet, there's sites like safeforworkporn.com, an ingenious site that has taken imagery and video from actual adult films and creatively censored the graphic parts so that you still know what's going on, and if you get called to the mat by human resources, maybe you got a leg to stand on. Can this kind of stuff get you fired? That's a good question, one we posed to Vicky, a human resources manager at a company that employs thousands of people. Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Now, is director the right title for you? Is that high enough?
Senior manager.
How many people would you estimate over the years in your various posts that you've held have you fired? Does it help if I put it in your language of let go?
Actually, I prefer terminate. That's a lot better.
Terminate. Terminate is hardcore. I have a question for you regarding porn in the workplace. I mean, you work at a huge company. You've worked at other companies in this capacity. Is pornography a problem in the workplace?
Yes.
What is the problem? I mean, is it a philosophical thing, like it's just not cool to look at it because it's offensive, or is it a productivity thing, like people aren't getting the job done?
Well, that certainly would be high on the list, but it's more of an issue of harassment for people around them, and it's just plain inappropriate.
There is a site called safeforworkporn.com, and we wanted to sort of get an idea whether or not this would actually be safe for work. Okay, this here, what about a guy saving a mermaid?
No.
What about a girl having a croissant?
None.
Super Mario characters feeding one another a magic mushroom?
No.
What about somebody strumming the guitar? How about a guy playing pinball? Maracas, what about that? How about bongos?
I don't even know what to say to that. It's bad. One picture like this would be enough to terminate the employee.
There's no nipple, there's no actual genitalia showing. It doesn't qualify as something that's harmless?
Well, the act in and of itself is obvious. Figure out what they're doing.
Okay.
Whether the image has been
So
covered
the
up.
implied act is enough.
It's really not implied.
I'm not sensing any hesitation on your part, none whatsoever.
None.
So safeforwork.com, not necessarily living up to the name.
No, really not. Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us. That was Vicky, Human Resources Haunch Extraordinaire. Thanks, Vic.
Next stop, Mr. Internet.
There are a lot of blogs out there, and a lot of them can get pretty nasty because they're not bound by pesky things like libel laws and journalistic integrity and advertisers. Celebrity blogs in particular can get really mean, and there's one that is the meanest, the most vicious of all, and that's PerezHilton.com. But the remarkable thing about PerezHilton.com is that it's fully monetized. I mean, this guy has basically taken the art of slander and elevated it to a profit-generating machine. If you look at PerezHilton.com, what you're going to find is relatively unflattering photographs of celebrities that have then been drawn on, and commentary that is, let's just say, less than complimentary. All right, let's take a look at some of this stuff. Here's an image of Bobby Brown with the helpful notation "Cokie." I think we have to say more than that. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. Here's some unflattering photographs of Busta Rhymes, and there's a call out to his double chin. I don't know, man. I'm guessing Busta Rhymes probably has a cache of weapons, and I'm not sure this is a great strategy. It seems like a good way to end up filled with lead. The crazy thing about this is that the very stars that Perez Hilton is trashing are the centerpiece for a lot of these advertisers. You've got movie studios, clothing companies. They're paying these stars a lot of money to represent them or to be in their films. Meanwhile, Perez Hilton is destroying them online and being paid by those same organizations. Here is a photograph of Chase Gay Face Crawford. And in order to punctuate the gay face part, Perez has taken the liberty of drawing a small penis with related emissions going onto Gay Face's face. And then right next to it, there's a advertisement for Bride Wars starring Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway. Where are you gonna find that? Not on television, my friend. One thing that Perez Hilton does, by the way, that is complete genius, and it's evil genius, is he doesn't have to pay for any of these photographs that he uses because in drawing on them, he is changing them enough so that he can get around copyright laws. So Perez Hilton is on the bullet train to hell, and he's making a lot of money on his way there. It's bizarre, and it can only happen on the internet.
Making me go out to some stupid club again?
Yep.
Why can't I just stay at home?
It's Wednesday.
More and more, the line between the virtual world and the real world is getting blurred, and nowhere does this happen more than in the world of Warcraft. Case in point, 17-year-old kid in Beijing douses another kid with gasoline and lights him on fire. His defense, been playing a lot of World of Warcraft, thought I was a fire mage. That's an example of jumping from virtual to real life. There are also examples of real life jumping over into the game. Recently, a 52-year-old woman who was a World of Warcraft participant and enthusiast died in real life, and members of her guild held her funeral in the game at her favorite spot, a place called Winter Spring, which is a body of water adjacent to a lovely meadow. Well, they gathered there to hold this funeral in the game, and when they did, another group, a splinter group, a controversial group, descended upon that funeral and killed everyone present. With me now is Matt Kement, the leader of that controversial faction which staged the raid. Now, Matt, am I saying your name right?
Yep.
Okay, because I want to get that right, because I feel like there's some chance that you could kill me, and since I don't have a game character, the only avenue for you to do that would actually be a real life, so I don't want you to like show up at my loft with a battle axe or something. You are the leader, in essence, of Serenity Now, which is, explain to people what that is.
Yeah, it's a guild in World of Warcraft. We're kind of a normal bunch, a little bit of a rowdy bunch, but
I would say rowdy about covers storming a funeral and dispatching everyone there.
Yeah.
Why?
Attention. We just kind of capitalized on the 15 minutes of fame that would have come with it. What I always tell everyone is, if we didn't do it, someone else would have.
I've used that. I mean, I've done, like if I cheat on a significant other, I'm always like, well, if it wasn't me, somebody else is going to do it. How many hours a week would you say that you play on a typical week?
Maybe 15 or so. I mean, there are people who put in more than 40 hours. I mean, the game's easily a full-time job for them. The way the game works is if you're on a PvP server, player versus player, which we are, there are zones that are called contested zones. And when you're in those contested zones, you can attack other players at will.
They erroneously held the service. I understand it was at a location called Winter Spring, which is some body of water that's adjacent to a serene meadow. But this is a contested zone, you're saying?
It is.
Did you cover escape routes? I mean, or is this just straight up shock and awe?
Shock and awe.
Well, the dress code, if you will, of a typical funeral played into your favor because you guys were kitted out with armor and they were wearing like suits and whatever.
Yeah. One person in gear can take out 5 people that aren't in gear without any trouble at all. So.
And like a virtual linen smock is not going to do anything against like a fireball or a
doesn't do anything at all. No.
What was the reaction to this thing?
What would I say? Probably about 75% bad, 25% good. Shortly after this whole thing went down, our site got hacked. People were just going nuts on the forums. People were going nuts in game. We've had people come on the forums claiming to be the girl who died's brother saying, "I'm going to sue you all." And
now, would he sue you in the game? Is there a barrister character, or would he?
No, I think he meant actually sue us.
You've captured the game footage, and you've edited this piece. I know it wasn't probably the motivation behind doing it, but in the end, you're left with a pretty amazing little piece of content there.
We first put it up on Google Video. I think it had like 2 or 2.5 million views there. Then he added the title on it to a bunch of sexually explicit stuff just to get more search results. And
nice.
Google didn't like that, and they took the video down. Put it back up on YouTube. I think it's something like 3.2 million views on there now.
Did you guys ever try to edit this to Celine Dion? Did that work? Did you try different tracks up against it?
There is another version of the video. I don't think it has Celine Dion in it.
Well, that, folks, is Matt Comment. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for
Very
having me.
enlightening. And listen, we'd like to stay in touch with Serenity now. We know you have covert operations that you'll never talk to us about, but anything above board you want to discuss, we're all ears.
All right.
He's going to kill me. There was a couple times when he was irritated, and I know he's going to try to get me. But I think I can take him. Did you see him? You shouldn't be afraid of a paladin in the game, because when they come out and they come to your door and they're like, nothing comes out. But if it's a warrior from the game, you can go down to any novelty store, one of those cutlery places at the mall, and buy like a 4-foot-long sword. So I'd be more afraid of him if he was a warrior, but he's a paladin, so I think I'm good to go. I think if I was a World of Warcraft character, I would probably be like a reptile called Magiczilla, and I would have scales and stuff, but then magic that came out of my hands and tail. And like these would be like claws here, but then the stuff, magic would come out. Kind of, I would kind of be like, you know, somebody would be like, "What? You're coming? You want to go?" You know, and I would push it. Like the magic would come together here, and then I would push it out. Hey, stay right there. We'll be right back. Or I'll cast like a lizard freeze ray force field thing on you.
Next stop, Mr. Internet.
There's a thing called Google Street View. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's basically guys driving around with a 360-degree camera on top of a creepy panel van in your neighborhood, my neighborhood, every neighborhood on Earth, and then uploading it to the web so that you can navigate through civilization as if you're really there. So when you go to Street View and you look on the map, anything that happens to be occurring at the time that van drove by is recorded. So you see a kid falling off a bike, you see a crack deal, you see people breaking into houses for real on Street View. There's girls flashing the Google van. And in one case, Carnegie Mellon University, half the student body turned out and they had a parade. And now the entire parade is captured online as part of Street View. So yeah, you know what? It's a little creepy, but it's also a new media that you can use to say whatever you want if you can figure out a way to anticipate this van coming by your house. Make a sign, expose yourself, whatever. It's your decision. Many times we're so busy trying to get you great content that we forget the most critical piece of information. In this case, it was the website where you can go and see the content to begin with. When that happens, I wear the same t-shirt that I wore the day we shot, and we shoot on a different day and try to make it look like it was the same day. So this part that I'm saying right now is probably about, 2.5 weeks after what you've been seeing in the other parts of this segment. Are you ready? gstreetsightings.com. That's gstreetsightings.com. gstreetsightings.com. In our continued effort to optimize your web surfing activity, we present YouKnow. It's not Y-O-U-K-N-O-W, it's Y-O-O-N-O. Clever, crazy, but it works. What is YouKnow? That's a good question. I don't know what to call it. It's not a site, it's a plugin. Firefox plugin. That's the wrong, what do they call that? I don't know what the bookmark mapping. Scrollable list of shit. You. No, I got it. I think I got it. God knows how I'm going to describe this thing. We have an entire staff of people trying to describe it as a plugin, an add-on, aggregator. What are you doing? YouKnow. It's a plugin for the Firefox browser that looks at sites that you visited and then recommends bookmarks of other users that have visited the same site. What does that mean? I don't know. No one knows. Our staff doesn't know. What it does mean for you, though, is that you visit a site, and if you have it's going to take you to exactly what you want. Like if you're into street bikes, it's not going to take you to a motocross site. It's going to take you to a street bike site because it looks at everyone else that's visited that site, what they have bookmarked, and then pulls from those bookmarks. You got it? I don't. Go have a beer. Unforgivable. Have you seen this? It's a series of web films that have amassed 45 million views. It's just a guy in the woods with his buddy, and he goes off on these insanely misogynistic rants, and I don't know why it's funny. I don't think it's even acceptable to acknowledge it as funny, but it's one of the funniest things you're ever gonna see.
The next day we went to Chicken Filet, some place in the mall. When I got there, I was like, bitch, where are all these people out here? She said, well, it's the mall. I was like, whatever, bitch. Give me a chicken sandwich and some waffle fries. I was like, bitch. She said, what you gonna have to eat? I was like, go up there and just give me a chicken sandwich with some waffle fries. Maybe a Coke to drink or something.
She seems like kind of nice about that at least.
It's clear that the protagonist doesn't really feel this level of anger or hatred towards the opposite sex. You can tell that because they start laughing through most of it and they have to start filming again. The guy has even monetized it. He's managed to monetize this stuff. There's a site, isthatunforgivable.com, where these web films are archived and you can also get gear. There's t-shirts, there's hats. It's unbelievable what the internet will accept. You know what's so great about this? How simple it is. I mean, anybody could do this. I could do this. I am gonna do this.
So thanks for watching, Mr. Internet. I know you liked it, because you like it when I'm all up in your house. Just like I'm gonna be next week, because you're gonna tune in, and if you don't,
join us for our next episode when we talk to Julia Allison, a woman who became famous for doing nothing other than expeditious use of the internet. And I think she likes me. Check this out.
The end goal is to be the next Oprah.
You're a million times less irritating than Oprah. I would already be willing to be a fan of yours way before Oprah.
You're still trying to get in my pants, my sweatpants right now.